Dealing with unbelief. Dealing with unbelief can sometimes be difficult, right? And I'm saying this because I'm speaking from experience here. When you deal with unbelief and you have everything that God may have told you, and when I say everything, I'm talking about the things that He may have told you. You may have it written down, you may have it in your notes, in your phone, right? You may, have it somewhere where it says it, like, this is what God told me or whatever, right? And you sometimes look at that and, you're somebody who is dealing with unbelief, right? And, you can receive and accept what God is telling you, but it's sometimes difficult to believe because of the fact that you are wanting what God is telling you to happen right now. And sometimes in life, when we as people, deal with unbelief, it is sometimes best, to take a breather and to take a step back and to look at our life, right? And to assess things and analyze things and be like, hey, I need to just, push this to the side for a moment and not worry about it, right? Because sometimes not worrying about it can also be, a hindrance, can also be the reason of why you're having that unbelief, is because of the fact that, you may worry about everything, and sometimes in life, you just sometimes have to stop worrying about things for that belief to take place, because when that worry is no longer existent and that belief is in place, then everything that God may have told you or may have promised you in your life will happen, will take place, will be released, will come to fruition, will manifest, right? The blessings, the everything, and that He may have told you personally will start to happen, will start to come into your life, will start to manifest, right? It's just, you have to take a step back and analyze things and look at your life and say, hey, what's the cause, for this unbelief? And like I said, sometimes the cause for unbelief could be worrying too much. Sometimes the cause for unbelief could be impatient. Sometimes the cause for unbelief could be, wanting things in a hurry, wanting things to happen right then and now, right? And not wanting to be patient, not wanting to take your time, not wanting to work for things, right? Sometimes, feeling entitled could be, causing that issue of unbelief, because, you have a sense of entitlement that feel like, I done this or I done that, so, God owes me. When really, when you really think about it, God doesn't owe anybody anything, because we have choices, right? We have choices. We either do what He's telling us, or we can say, hey, I'm gonna do my own thing, right? And just like God tells us as people, we don't owe no man anything but to love him. It's the same way that God is with us. Like, He doesn't owe us anything, right? So what I'm saying is this, is that when you're dealing with unbelief, it is best to just step back, and take time, out for yourself. And, if you are surrounded by people all the time, get away from people and get by yourself. And I'm not saying isolate yourself forever, but get by yourself and pray and, seek God and ask God to help you deal with that unbelief, because there are certain things that you can believe, right, that are, underneath that same umbrella of God, right? But it's like when He may tell you things like, hey, I'm gonna bless you, or hey, I'm gonna do this in your life, or hey, I'm bringing this person to you. That's when that unbelief, starts to creep in, because it's like, okay, that God can do this, but you are struggling to believe that he can do this in your life. You get what I'm saying? Because yes, you know he can do this because you've seen it happen. You've seen him do it in other people's lives. You've seen it happen, with friends or with people around you or with family or whatever, right? But it's like you're struggling to believe that God can do it in your life, because he has told you this personally. Like, look, like this is what I'm going to do, and so it's like when you struggle with that, the best thing to do is to ask God, hey, can you help me? Pray to him and say, Lord, help me to deal with this problem or this issue of unbelief. Help me to deal with these areas that I'm not able to believe in, right? Because I believe that you can do this because I've seen you do it and I know that you can do it. But in my life, why is it so hard for me to believe? Why is it so hard for me to believe that you can do this? Right? That you can do what you are telling me that you're going to do. Why is it so hard? And when you ask God that, and he will tell you, he will start to help you to deal with that unbelief. He will start to help you in those areas to where you are no longer going to be somebody who don't believe in what he's telling you. You're going to be somebody who believes because of the fact that God is going to start showing you, like, look, I wasn't lying, because that's one thing about God is a man of his word. God is not going to lie. God is not going to leave you. He's not going to forsake you. God is going to accomplish everything that he set out to do. So if he tells you, hey, I'm going to do this, he's going to do it. You just have to believe it. And like I said, if you struggle with unbelief, then at the time, step back. If you don't have a relationship with God, step back and just look at your life and take time for yourself and, try praying, try asking God, by saying, hey, Lord, can you help me with this? Can you help me deal with this unbelief, right? Can you help me to believe so that I don't keep having this unbelief? Now if you're someone who do serve God and who do pray, then ask God, ask God to help you and to show you, okay, Lord, can you show me or can you tell me, why am I struggling with unbelief? Why am I having these situations where I'm not believing in what you're telling me, but I know that you can do this because, you have done it for people around me. I've seen you do it. And it's like, I'm not believing, so like I need your help, right? So basically what I'm saying is, go to God if you are struggling with unbelief. Don't go to man. Man is not going to be able to really tell you what to do. They may tell you something, everybody's going to tell you differently. Everybody's going to tell you to do different things. Everybody's going to give you different methods. Everybody's going to give you different examples, different things, right? But the only true person and the only true individual and the only true healer, deliverer, blesser that you can go to is God. Provider that you can go to is God. Because God is, God. He knows all. He sees all, right? So he's going to know what to do so that he can show you that this unbelief is non-existent. Meaning that he's going to give you things, he's going to tell you things so that you can see that what he told you is real. So that you can see that what he did in other people's lives was not just for them. Yes, it was just for them at the moment, but as far as the believing process is concerned, if that believing process was not just for them, that believing process was for you too, right? And so what I'm saying is this: God is going to do things in your life that is going to help you to believe. It's going to help you to say, now, Lord, I believe, or to have that feeling in your heart, like where God may tell you something, you may believe him right then. right? Instead of doubting, instead of unbelieving, you know what I'm saying? Instead of, not believing, instead of not believing and having doubt, you're going to be believing and hopeful, you know what I'm saying? Believing and being faithful, believing and standing on faith instead of unbelieving, instead of having unbelief and doubt, right? You're not going to have unbelief and doubt. You're going to be believing and, being hopeful and faithful, in whatever it is that God may have shown you or may have told you after, he has, got you to where you need to be as far as helping you to deal with this situation of unbelief, and that's really all I'm gonna say, and that's really all I can say, but when you deal with unbelief, just go to God about it. Don't go to man. Don't confide in man about anything, regarding your life, because people can seem like they're happy, can seem like they're there for you, but really they could just be putting a whole plan together to destroy your life, right? And you don't want that. You don't want people around you who's going to destroy you or speak bad about you or, cause you to get off track because of them being so persuasive, right? Like, you don't want that. You want people that God put in your life who are going to actually be there for you, who's going to actually speak positive things of your life, who's going to speak life into you, who's going to give you wisdom, advice, knowledge, and who's also going to allow God to lead them as well, so that's that, and God bless everybody.